just I see you as a person, as somebody that matters the same as me, and when you're speaking, I want to make sure you feel heard, I want to make sure I understand. And we just kind of move along in this kind of equals thing, right?
It's more genuine, I think.
Yeah, there's an authenticity there that's apparent. You all know when you're being treated. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Being treated as a vehicle, or as an obstacle, or as irrelevancy. But similarly, you can feel when you're being treated as a person, and somebody sees you as a person, right? Okay. All right. So here's our fun little experiment. All right. So you're all here. Pretend like. Now, if you're anything like me, because I'm an introvert, and stuff like this happens, like, oh no, I don't know, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? These chairs don't exist. Only the chairs around the table. So there are 9 chairs. Those are the only chairs that we're focused on. Okay? You're going to be tasked with sitting in a different chair in a location at the table than you are currently. This is going to be your new location for the rest of the day. Okay? So there's serious consequences to this. Playing around. Okay. All right. I want each of you, somewhere in your handbook there, to write down which chair that you most want to sit in. Look around the room. Look around the room. There's very serious stuff here. Okay? There will be no laughter. All right. Go ahead and just write down the chair.
Like who's in the chair?
No. Just write down, describe the chair. I realize it's hard to say. It's like nobody wants to say where we're going to. There's like too much responsibility. I don't know how to think of pushing that power button and everything. I just want to be able to just kick back and disengage.
I know.
All right. So you're all thinking. Kim,
So you just write down the person's name that you, or like the chair?
Either way, you just need to indicate with determination and intent which chair it is that you are going to try and sit down in. Okay? All right.
And you're going to turn the music on?
That's what it feels like, doesn't it? In fact, the first time I went through this, because we had to go through all of these different elements, and this is a fairly recent change they've made to it. So there were several parts like this where I was, what's coming next? And I totally thought the same thing. All right, is there going to be music to this? Is there going to be violence? Is there going to be bloodshed? All right. All right, this is what we want to do now. So we're going to do this. We're going to number off. I'm just going to go around the room. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and 9 of us, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Written exactly much.
3 ones. 1, 2, 3,
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1.
All right. Okay. Excellent. Way to go. We passed the first difficulty. Those who drew number 1, go ahead and take a Post-it, and then just take one Post-it and pass those down. Okay. And then, if you're number 1, write obstacle on it. You are an obstacle.
Oh boy.
All right? Okay. And this is how, yep, it is, correct. See, Gwen has a heightened sensitivity. She knows exactly where we're going because she's required to be here more mentally than the rest of us. She's going to be picking stuff up that you guys haven't even figured out yet.
First time.
Yeah. All right. So, you that are obstacles, you'll place that on you or hold it up, make sure everybody can see it when we start this activity because everybody needs to treat you as an obstacle. Okay? All right. Number 2. Those who drew number 2, write irrelevancy on it. You are irrelevant for the sake of the activity. And I'm not really going to say anything else to you because you're irrelevant. We're going to move on to the next one. You can figure it out. I don't really care. All right. Got it? Those who drew number 3, write vehicle. Those who drew number 4, write person on it. Okay? Now, in the activity that we're about to begin, you are to treat everybody according to the Post-it that they are wearing. All right? So, in a moment, we're going to have you stand up, and everybody needs to get to that seat that they want to get to. Everybody has to be sitting at the end of this exercise, but you have to get the seat that you want. Now, if I see somebody with a person, how might I treat them as they're going to their seat? As they're trying to get to a seat?
Acknowledge them?
Yeah, What about an obstacle? Yeah? All right. Oh, this is going to be... to be dealt with. They don't deserve anything. Okay. All right. How about a vehicle? How might we treat a vehicle? A person that's a vehicle. We might even go out of our way to look for a vehicle and say, hey, did you find what you were looking for? We wouldn't expect anything. That's not how we treat a person. We want to make sure that they get what they want and everything else, but a vehicle would probably go over the top of that, right? Good. All right. I think we got the gist of this. Everybody ready? What we're going to do is when I say go, now remember, I forgot a crucial element. I hope nobody chose the seat that they're currently in. You cannot remain in the same seat.
She's irrelevant.
Doesn't really matter. Just ignore what's happening over here. All right, that's great. All right, so it's got to be a different seat, okay? It's my fault again. Whenever something doesn't go right, I'm not communicating. So, all right, everybody has got the seat figured out that they want. All right, go ahead. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
You're a person, right?
You can't be that.
Are you coming over? Did you get yourself out?
The seat's too important for you to be there.
No, I'm the one. You're Jeff, are you ready?
No, this one's here. She's gonna be here, though.
Okay, now just here. Let me move.
Just push your chair on that smart chair. Just push your chair on that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, wow, this is the best one. You guys are great. All right, just go ahead and sit anywhere you can. Have a seat.
Do I have to move?
That was,
Do I have to move?
that was great. Let's have you, all right, let's have everybody find a place now. Everybody's got one except, all right, irrelevant seat, come on back to a real seat. You didn't even
I was pushed that way.
this is great. There was some real physicality. Wow. I think I saw at least a couple of chairs actually being moved. It was right about now, Michelle's thinking, why did we get the wheelchair?
See,
Yeah.
the vehicle gave me the okay to do it, so.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Fun, silly. What's the deeper meaning from all of this? What'd you see? What comes out of this? If you were to try and pull some lesson out of this chaos that we just engaged in, what might it be?
You saw different reactions from people that you normally wouldn't have seen.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know they did that.
We took on that persona of that mindset that you were supposed to be.
Yeah. Was it an efficient way to do things?
Dangerous.
If you, exactly. Can you see an environment if this were to have been serious, where relationships could have been even more damaged, and you create all kinds of problems going forward? It's a silly exercise, but obviously it's meant to illustrate the deeper truth. That if it's this complicated and inefficient in a silly little game, imagine if these things actually existed within an organization, all of the time wasting, inefficiency, lack of collaboration, lack of accountability, lack of innovation that's occurring in an organization. And it's tremendous. It's huge. Now, I'm going to go ahead, just because I happen to, again, be an introvert, and so I would really appreciate this. I'm going to allow you to take your things and go back to the seat you were sitting in. So everybody go back to the seat.
She pushed me back in my chair.
That was great, by the way. I will use that in future. We actually had a group in Arizona where they lived. That was wonderful. And sorry if you actually became comfortable in your new place, but again, I thought we'd put you back. We needed to say it was permanent, otherwise the stakes would have been high, right? I don't think we would have seen near the violence, as you know. All right. Okay. Let's move on. Let's go. All right. So let's go back now to our key objective map, having just gone through that wonderful life-changing experience, where you now will not look at anybody else in this group and say it again. You guys did great. That was fun. I should let that go a little longer. I don't we're getting close to seeing some elbows coming.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to the key objective map then. Okay, so last page of the booklet. This is what I want you to do. The people over in that right side, now we need to transfer those names over to the key objective map. This is how we're going to do it. Situate the people that I identified in the quadrants that best describe how I see them when I'm in an inward mindset. Okay, so we're trying to look at ourselves in those moments that we have an inward mindset. It doesn't mean you're always seeing them this way. Okay, nobody's like that. Sociopaths, right? All right, when you're in that inward mindset, put those names in boxes where you actually might see them. Okay. So if I think I never see them as objects, then you go ahead and put them in the person area. Now, do it with this order. List those most central to achieving the objective closest to the center of the page. Okay? So there is a bit of an order to it. So Ed, I see Ed as an obstacle, but he's pretty critical to me achieving my objective. Whereas IT, I see him as an obstacle, but they're not that relevant to me getting this done. Does that make sense? Go ahead and situate those names now over onto the key objective map. test here. This is for your benefit. Just simply use it to apply some of these principles. What I want to do now is, before we go into the break, and we'll try and make it close to 10. It might be just a little after. We've got a couple of minutes to watch it. We're leading up to a break for sure. But before we do that, we want to kind of finish off this section and talk about a few of the applications of an outward mindset, the power of an outward mindset in specific instances. Okay? The first one we're going to take a look at is an instance of mindset and the impact mindset has on our situational awareness. Okay? Situational awareness, again, incredibly important. It's knowing what's happening beyond the blinders, right? And obviously, when we're out on the road, we want people to have situational awareness. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this first instance. This is what's called an N-prime satellite, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration N-prime satellite. Leave it to the engineers of the world to give something way too many names, all right? Acronym for that, I don't even know what that would look like. All right, this is an incredibly sophisticated satellite. You see a photo of it sitting over here on the left side, okay? Now, the cost of the satellite is roughly $260 million. It's a lot of money. The cost of this was more than that entire cut. Remember, Louis had to do $100 million. Just, again, you get beyond $20 for me, and it's all just crazy. All right. Okay, so that's first fact for you to be aware of. The second fact is the cost of the 24 bolts that held the satellite to its base, $260. Okay. Now, we just go around here to the other side and illustrate why those bolts are important. As you're looking at this satellite, it looks like it's floating above, just sitting here above. You can't see it so well, but there's actually a plate back here that this is fastened to. So it's bolted to the end of this plate. And so what happens is they can take this and they turn it this way, and the satellite is standing up, and they can work on it, or they can bring it back down horizontal. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and see what happened. All right? So we've got this. Cost of the satellite, $260 million. Cost of the bolts, $260. All right? You can already get a sense that something tragic about it. All right. This is from the official report. The bolts were removed from the TOC, that's the turnover cart, by another project while the cart was in a common staging area, an activity which was not communicated to the NOA project team. Meaning that while this was standing vertical, okay, on this plate, the bolts underneath were removed. Another project said, we've got something to do. Oh, there's some bolts. Okay? And I'm sure that's exactly how they said. This is the result. All right? So you can see this is only partially raised. It looks like they just started to raise it, and all of a sudden notice, can you imagine that instance where you begin to realize that's not attached? So your project team comes in to work on the satellite, and you just go to move it back into a horizontal level to be able to work on it. You get it up this far, and you just start, you see the whole thing in slow motion. You feel that? Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that something? Cost of the damage? This is painful. You ready? $135 million was the cost for that. How could this happen? What mindset were these individuals operating from? You're all right, obviously. Why? What's the indication of that?
Because they needed bolts, they didn't care.
Yeah. Our project requires bolts. Now, could they have done this with the best of intentions? Potentially? We've got a, who's going to put the bolt back? We got that covered? Okay, all right, whatever. But obviously they felt like they had a need, and to satisfy their objectives, they needed bolts. All right. We see the blinding power of an inward mindset. It's incredible. In fact, when the mindset is inward, there are a whole bunch of things that we simply don't see. Our decisions are based on less than complete information. We increasingly become stupid. Technical term. All right? You understand that? It's somebody went in and they probably were incredibly, knew exactly what they were doing. They got the bolts. They probably actually achieved their objectives. But inadvertently, because they simply did not have an outward mindset, and those around them did not matter to them. They did not see them as people with their objectives, problems, challenges, and issues. They were so inward focused, they simply did what needed to be done within their context and their job. And they might have achieved their objective. In the meantime, the overall objectives of the organization have been set back by a tune of $135 million. Somebody's got to walk up the hill to Congress and say, hey, we need some more money. That'd be a fun conversation to have. Oh, isn't that just painful? You know, it's in some ways it's a caricature, it's an amplified version of it, and yet at the same time you can appreciate how blinding and detrimental that inward mindset can be when I don't have that situational awareness within an organization, within a community. If I'm completely blind to the objectives of other organizations or other individuals within our organization, might there be things that I'm actually causing problems with? Things like that I might not be aware of. Okay?
I wonder how many scientists, have that problem, because they're all, all about the facts and, you know what I mean, and that